Hello, welcome back. How is everyone? Hey Tybee, hey Tulla, hey Deborah, welcome in. Hey Sherry. I'm going to do one more row on this sleeve. I did get the row done this morning. I like to cast off on the knit side, especially when I'm sewing pieces together. It just gives a nice little edge. I did take and sew both of the fronts onto the sweater. Did like a mattress stitch where I went down through the top of the stitch on each side and brought it together, and it made a nice little braided seam across the shoulder. Walking home from work. Oh, I remember walking home from work when I lived in town. It was so nice. Thank you, Chrissy, with the CH. I hope you have a wonderful day as well. Thank you for stopping in. I do appreciate it. But yes, this will be uploaded if you need it. If you were following along with the Knit-a-long, it will be with the rest of the series on my YT account. And there is a link back on my profile page directly to that. And that's supposed to be double stitches from where we spliced in there. You can see both of the strands there, one strand and two strands. So I'm knitting through both of those. And then our next row will be our cast off row. So here we go. And we are going to start the cast off. I know I've shown several times, but I will continue to show each time I come up to it, the cast off row. I like to save it because sometimes, you know I needed to see stuff repetitively when I was learning it because I'm a visual doer learner. So I watch somebody do it, excuse me, and then I do it. Sometimes I have to watch it to make, especially if it's a lot of stuff. But yeah. So I'm going to go in. We're doing it on a knit row. I try to stay in pattern. If I have a knit 2 purl 2 that I'm doing, I knit 2 purl 2 on the cast off. I follow the same pattern. So we're going to knit the first stitch. We're going to knit the second stitch. First stitch goes over the second stitch, just like that. And we will knit one more stitch and pass the previous one over the other. All I'm doing is coming up underneath that loop, holding my tension tight so I can't pull that one off of the end, and passing it over. We will knit one more. Come up here, get underneath the front leg of that loop. Hold your tension tight so that you can pull it up and over. And then that stitch comes off. And this is your cast off. You want to make sure not to cast off too tight. It will draw your piece together. You want to make sure not to cast off too loose because then you'll have big gaps. Almost like yarn overs in your work. So I'm just going to go all the way across and I will show you the shoulder seams here. If anyone needs to see the cast off again, just please say slow down and I will show that to you again. Let me just do this all the way across. My tension is really, really loose right now. I'm barely holding any once I got started on the row. Just a little, but not a lot. Hey Becky, doing a cast off on the sleeves. Sorry about that. They bark at anybody moving around in the house but me. My husband's son just came downstairs. Me too, Becky. Me too. But I'm moving forward. I'm leaving that all behind me. I'm leaving it right on the side of the road where it belongs. I'm very, very perseverant. I am determined to do what I want to do with my life, and it doesn't matter if previous issues, the TikTok, whether it's going to be here, excuse me, in the United States or not, even that's not going to stop me. I've given everybody access to several different ways to stay up with me. In the event that, the TikTok will not be in the U.S. So that way, I can keep doing what I do. And I know a lot of you already follow me on those other platforms, which is great. Well, yeah. It is exactly what you said. It's mine. It's mine. And I don't deal very well with, losing what's mine. It might not be much, but it's mine and I want to keep it. So, we are almost to the end of this row here and cast off. And so we get down to the end. Thank you for the heart, me Becky. We will fasten it off with one of the few knots that I put into my work. Always to secure a piece or to secure a seam. That's the only places I put knots. And here is the last one. Now at this point I'm going to draw that loop out real big. And I grab my crochet hook. Always mixing crochet and knit. One that's fairly the same size or smaller as the needle that I was using, and this is definitely smaller because that's a 10.5, and this is a 4 millimeter. I chain 2. I pull a loop through twice. I cut my yarn long because I'm going to use this to sew it to the sweater, so that way I don't have to attach yarn, and then I just pull very carefully all of that through that loop, put my fingers right above those 2 chains and pull, and it takes it right down to the line of your row. Hey Sassy, how are you today? Now we will need these momentarily. So if you're following along and you're still at the same point, don't put these away quite yet. We are going to need those. All right, so I will now show you the seam that I did on the fronts. I have sewn both of the front pieces to the back. And I have a little braided seam here. You can see a little bit better on this one. Looks like a crochet braided seam. stepped outside for a minute and I think all that wind blowing around knocked some of that pollen up in my nose. Now I want to cough. What I did was a mattress stitch. I went down through the top on one side, pulled through, went down through the top on the other side, and I was holding the right sides facing me. Now, there is a slight bump to this because I did go through both stitches, but there isn't any on the inside. It's on the outside. So it won't be rubbing against your skin, and there's a nice little braided edge there. So we have the fronts onto the back. Now we are going to take and sew the sleeve to the side. Now, what I do when I sew the sleeves on, I find my center seam, which I can find very easily because of the way I do it. There's that nice little line right there. Okay. I am going to go ahead and get some string, which I had left over from the other skein for my sewing needle. Oh, we don't need that because we got it on the sleeve. We just did that. Normally I forget to do this and have to end up cutting a piece anyway. So I'm glad I remembered and then forgot that I did remember to do it. It is. It's going to look really good and it feels so amazingly soft. And what am I feeling right there? Please tell me that it's not a dropped stitch. Oh, somehow I missed a factory knot. Or is that a factory knot? Yes, it is. Okay, I'm going to have to make sure to doubly secure that on the back side. What I'll do is I'll go through those stitches, top and bottom, that make that loop, and I will secure them to either side so that they don't come out. And I will see that fluff because I don't cut off all my ends until I get finished. And I will remember that. So I'll take care of that before it goes into the wash. So what I do is I lay my shoulder seam out. And I am going to have to unravel this a little bit as we go to put this together because, as you know, stockinette stitch likes to roll up on the sides. It'll even roll up on the bottom if you don't have ribbing or some type of border stitching. So what I do is I take and fold my sleeve in half like this. And then I find my center and I mark it, normally just with my sewing needle. Give me just a minute. Come on, let's go. Out. Out. Out now. Out. Then you're going to be quiet. One more time and you're going out in the kitchen. Sorry about that. Dogs. Okay, so I've marked the middle stitch here. Again, that is just a very general guesstimation of the center. I've marked that. Now what I'm going to do, right sides together, okay? Since I folded it right side, the right sides will go together very easily. Shoulder seam right side up. Sweater seam wrong side up because you got your right sides together. I'm going to come right into the very center, right where I put my knot, and go right through the fabric. Okay, right through the fabric of what I created for this one, right through that. And you know what? We are going to have to cut this because I'm starting from the middle. I tell everyone new to start from the middle and work your way out, simply because if you start on one side and start stretching, your sleeves are not centered. Hey, Moonchild. Puppies, yes, yes. They bark at everybody inside the house that live here, Becky. They're barking at my husband's son. So now that I've got this secured and I did tie a knot there, right there, I can start sewing this together. Now, Normally, I sew it from the right side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it this way. Okay. Now I'm going to come down through the top, both legs. I've got both legs of my stitch on here, the front and the back loop, from the top down. All right, string, come on and cooperate. Pull that through. And then over here on this side, making sure, I'm going to keep that to the inside because I'll weave that in. I want to find this very last row of knit. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to work right down along this side, and you will see a definite part between the sleeve and these rows. So I want to catch both legs of this very, very edge stitch right here on the very, very edge. Again, from the top down. And yes, we are sewing this from the right side. And I hold these together like this. Okay, so I catch both legs of the next stitch on the other side, and we're going from the right side to the inside. Get that out of there. There we go. Now again, readjusting to find that row of stitching there. And I work this all the way down to the edge, and then I come back, reattach, and work the other side out. We'll take care of those strings later. Okay. Making sure to catch both legs of each stitch. And I won't do this whole sleeve because nobody wants to see me sew a whole sleeve together. I will work down enough to where I can show you the definition that you get by going through both legs of the stitch. And I'll bring it up to the camera really close so you can see, because the colors are really going to affect being able to see it. Every so many stitches I will take this and I will give it a gentle, little bit more than gentle tug. And if you look right here, somebody stirred up a skunk. Oof. Country life. We're getting a definite edge right here. Okay. Right there. I'm glad you guys weren't outside. Ooh, that would have been a mess. They've done met the skunk outside. So you'll see this very sharp edge right here when we finish that. So I'm going to leave that to the side because I do want to talk about pockets today. What I'm going to do is take that needle out before I stick myself. I gotta close the window. Give me just a second. Oh my gosh. What did y'all do? Y'all really wild up the outdoors. That really worries me about letting my little one outside this time of day too, because skunks are nocturnal. They're not supposed to be out right now. But there is one out there. And it was disturbed by something. My little hover pen got knocked over. Alright, so we have the way I sew my seams, and that's the way I sew everything together. Let me see. Yeah, I'm pretty good at matching up the stitches. For a beginner, I would recommend stitch markers, safety pins, whatever. I have some of the stitch markers that look like little safety pins, and I have some of the, where are they? Some of the metal ones that look like safety pins in there as well. Yeah, I do. When I fly by the seat of my pants a lot because I'm an older crafter and I know how to take it slow on certain spots. And sometimes, yeah, I've stretched it and had to take it back. So, you know, stitch markers will keep you in place for sure, for sure. Now, I'm going to show you how I do pockets. Normally, I already have the collar band on. We're going to wait for the collar band till next week. So I'm going to show you the two types of pockets. And I didn't do a pocket insert for the one that goes in the seam. Oy. We might have to do that. Alright, let me get this around here and make sure that I'm on the right side. We'll talk about placement of your pocket, how low you want your pocket, and how big you want your pocket. This goes pretty far down. This is 32 inches long, I think, way around the hip type sweater. So we're going to come up a little bit. Now I do have my ribbed edge here, and the reason why I have this mat is I'm going to stretch this out so you can see what I'm doing. I don't remember my cast on count. That's very important for placement, so I'm going to figure out my count here real quick by counting my ribs. .48 stitches. Okay, now 48 stitches. Normally my pocket size for adult sweaters are 22 stitches. So having 48 total stitches, and we want to cover 22, that leaves 26 stitches. So what I have to do is make sure that that pocket is centered, those 22 stitches centered within the 48 stitches that I have. So we take the 22 stitches from the 48, leaves a remainder of 26. The 26 stitches have to be divided equally on each side of the pocket. So we're going to come in 13 stitches from this side, put a marker on one of the vertical knit rows. We could come in 13 inches on this side, but we really don't, or 13 stitches, not inches. Ooh, 13 stitches on this side. We don't have to because we're going to count our 22 stitches from where we placed our marker. So I'm going to come over here to this side, and we can figure it out pretty easily from the rib. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. This would be 13 stitches. Okay, that's this vertical row coming right here off of this rib up to here. Now I'm going to come up to about right here because this is where the leg and hip meet on this sweater, because it does come down around the hip. Now what I'm actually doing, let me bring the camera down so you can see a little bit better, because you need to see the stitches. I'm going to let this back out here because I remember where I'm at right here. You can see both legs of that vertical knit row there. I pick up the right leg for 22 stitches. Now the thing about this is you need to make sure that your rows are straight across. Okay, you don't want to go up, you don't want to go down, and you want to grab just the right leg of the stitch. And see, I'm putting them right on the needle, making sure not to catch any portion of the other legs as I'm picking these up. 22 stitches. Now I'm going to have to stretch these just a little bit to get the needle in there. So it's a little back and forth type deal here. There goes those allergies again. Trying to watch around the camera because it's way down close, and it'd probably be easier if I just watch through the camera. And I think we caught a little bit of that other loop from the stitch below. That'll make it tight so that you can't get through there. There we go. And it's just kind of a back and forth type deal here. Okay, we've got that one. Make sure I stay in row here. And we're here. Let's see how many stitches I got. Okay, we need 11 more. Sorry about that, my fingers in there keep making the camera pan in and out. I feel like I'm going up and down. That one was too high. All right, let me count again. I think I need one more. 2, 3. Two more. Okay, there's our 22 stitches. Now I'm going to take this camera back up. Okay, I have actually picked up those 22 stitches, and we are actually going to start knitting our pocket. And no, we're not, because, yeah, we're going like this. So we're going to have to come all the way back over to here. I can see where I started going up. I need to fix that light a little bit. Maybe a little bit more light. That'll help. Maybe all the way back over to here we started climbing. That's the fun part about this, making sure that you get them straight across. And I could see that as soon as I lifted that camera up. Looking through the camera made it hard for me to see. Okay, we're going to take a look at this and count our stitches again. Let's check and make sure it looks like it's straight now. Yes. All right. $22 stitches. So we have that centered now in the middle of our front, and I'm going to knit through these now, just like starting a new row. It is strange, isn't it? Behind all my comments here. Sorry about that. I forgot to untwirl my needles here. Good morning, Twisted. Hey, Sam and Dean Crazy, how are you? So now I'm going to twist my needles over around this way because I need these on my left needle. And I need my right hand needle to be empty because that's how I'm going to work my stitches. I'm going to unbury my yarn from everything else that is up there. We really didn't need the board. I thought I was going to have to pin it down. But now I connect my yarn just like I do when I add it on. I'm going to fold it back over in my hand, leaving the magic 3 or 4 inches. Okay? And here's some of that tweed look to this yarn. I absolutely love it. Now, by folding it back over, we create a loop on this upper end. Okay, what I'm going to do with that little loop, I'm going to put my knitting needle into this first stitch, put my loop on here just like that, and I'm holding both strands, the tail and the working yarn. We're going to work that first stitch, and we're going to work the rest of it just like we were knitting, but we'll have 2 strands for a couple of stitches. Okay, I'm going to do 4 stitches because this is the bottom of a pocket. Our little extra can just hang back there, and I'm going to knit the rest of my row. Now I will knit and purl this pocket on here straight off of the material, and then I will go back and do a mattress stitch type stitch and sew it down on both sides to the actual sweater. It makes it a lot easier than trying to sew a whole pocket on. I have tried connecting the pocket as I go. When I get to this last stitch, I can do this, and I can also pick up the next stitch up here and sew it down. I don't like doing it that way because sometimes it pulls and it makes holes here on the side of your pocket. It opens the gap. So I don't normally do that. Now you can see all of my stitches that I picked up. Now this side I just purl, so that way I have the stockinette stitch pocket. If I wanted to put designs in these pockets, I could. If I don't want to do a knit 2 purl 2 rib at the top, I can do an I-cord border. You can do any type of border you like on the top. I don't normally do a knit 2 purl 2 rib on the pockets. I do a knit 1 purl 1 because I don't want it to be gathered, but I still have the rib look. That's up to the individual crafter, how they want to do that. So, and I'll just work this to the length that I want, making sure that I leave room for an edging if I want to put one on. If I don't have to. It is going to roll if you don't, so you might want to at least do a garter stitch or a moss stitch or something at the top so that it doesn't, you know, roll up or just flop over. And I'll work over these 22 stitches. Doing that math will help you center your pocket without having to say, oh, well, how far do we want to go? It lets you pre-plan everything out. So you will take the stitch count of the front piece, subtract the stitch count of your pocket. How wide do you want your pocket to be? How small do you want your pocket to be? And then you take the remainder of that subtraction and divide it in half. And that's how many stitches you count over from either side and start connecting your pocket. I got this all twisted around my needle and cables. Yes, I share just about everything I can think of. Any questions you have on being able to make things easier, I'm here. You know, you're having difficulties. That's why I'm here. I like sharing the knowledge that I have. I like sharing the things that I find. I like sharing the programs that I use, that I can create my own stuff. Thank you, Brooklyn. I appreciate it. I mean, when I was learning to do this, I wasn't taught how to hold the yarn. I was taught how to do the stitches. So trying to figure that out and do the stitches at the same time, you know, I do show how I hold my yarn and everything when I'm teaching. And you can see here, we got a nice little edge on that pocket right there where we connected it. And we're working it straight off the sweater. So the bottom of it will be very, very secure. You won't have to worry about any of that coming undone. Holes in the bottoms of the pockets or anything of the such. When I seam these up, I work through the V's of the knit stitches And I will show you how I do that. Is anybody else not to this point on your sweater? I'm not sure if everyone's actually here because I've been gone for a while. I did put a video out this morning because, you know, it was a last minute decision to just, hey, we're going to do what we do, and this is what we're going to do. Hey, Lordy, how you doing? Thank you for the follow. Is that Gleb or Gleb? You're way behind. Marcia, don't worry. I'm here to help you finish up. Any questions that you have, you know, when you come along to pieces. I know life goes on for everyone, and we've all had our little stop and go roller coaster moments throughout all of this. And I'm here until everyone finishes. So, you know, don't stop. Any live that I am on my own, if you have questions, just ask. I'll stop whatever I'm doing, and every live is going to be a teachable live outside of my knit-along. So yes, I will be here to help you finish up for sure, for sure. And again, all of these are posted to my YT account, so that if you want to learn how to make sweaters on your own, it is posted there. The math, the formulas to figure everything out. And if you have any questions, I'm live pretty much, or was, Monday through Friday, and I'm going to be Monday through Friday. You just started your first sleeve. Okay, yeah. I finished up half of my sleeve day before yesterday and started the other sleeve, and I just finished it up today. So it only took me 2 days to do the sleeves. A piece a day. The back took me a little bit longer to do because it's more like 2 pieces. So 2 days for the back, a day for each sleeve, and a day for each front. So yeah, I can get a sweater done in a week, a basic sweater. Because, you know, knit and purl, I can sit and knit and purl, watch TV, and follow the show. Welcome in, Jane. But yeah, I'll probably move this knitting square out, but I think I'll just leave it there for now. Oh, I know. As long as it's mindless knitting. You know, I'm not trying to do cables and all that while I'm trying to watch a TV show. But yeah, I will continue showing different, and you can see how pretty that looks on there. Let me pick that up and lay this down here. Your pocket's going to be a little puffy because you want a little bit of this at the bottom. You don't want to stretch it because, you know, if you put your cell phone in there or something in there that's got a little bit of width to it, you want a little bit of this at the bottom. So I make sure to have at least 1/4 of an inch like this. And then I'll start stitching once I get the pocket complete. Yeah, I have people here, user 386, I think those numbers, or maybe it's a 5. I don't know. They're so small and grayed out. I'm here working on stuff like this all the time, and I have a lot of people that don't craft, don't knit, don't crochet, but they like to watch people do it. I love what I can do with this string. I can make all kinds of things with string. All different colors, all different thicknesses of string. I'm in awe of the lady that's on here that's making that micro granny square blanket. She's actually, where is that crochet hook at that I had over here? She is using, okay, this is the standard size crochet hook that I crochet with. It's a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. She is crocheting with this crochet hook. Do you see the end on that? There it is. She's making granny squares out of sewing thread. And she's sewing them together for Yeah, I like taking a lot of sewing out of what I have to do because I don't like sewing a whole lot of stuff together. Now, mind you, normally when I make a sweater, just like I picked up these stitches right here for this pocket, I would come right off the front at the shoulder seam. Okay, I know how wide my sleeve needs to be at the top. I will count how many, I will divide my stitches in half, that stitch count. I will come over this way that many stitches. I will count each one of these V's. Come from the center, half the stitch count, and I will pick up the whole sleeve and I'll knit it right on the side of the sweater. So, yeah. Bobbin lace, okay. I like watching them make that bobbin lace. I don't understand how they know which bobbin to twist with which bobbin, and does it really make a difference? I'm just in awe. And the fact that all the clacking, the bobbins, the wooden bobbins clacking together. I don't know, it's just something about that noise. Yes, this is a beautiful color, isn't it? It's called Autograph. It is the Red Heart Roll With It in the colorway Autograph, and it is acrylic. Comes in a little cake just like that. It's a specific pattern every time. Okay. Yeah, let me know when you're going to do that again, because I just love watching. I love watching. And stitch markers. I like the dangly stitch markers when I knit, to hear those clacking together. The sound of progress, each stitch are clacking. You're one stitch closer to being finished. Morticia, I will do more. Yes, and I can post that. Is there anything specific that you had, any specific question you had about Stitch Fiddle? Again, I am not sponsored by Stitch Fiddle, and this is not a promo for Stitch Fiddle. I'm just sharing information. I hate that I have to throw all those disclaimers in here, but I do. Yes, I can do a whole nother tutorial and post. I just need to know if you can send me a message. It will be easier for me to remember what you need than to try and remember it through this live and then through doing it. I can do one and post it to my YT account, so it'll be there. Are you looking for color work? Are you looking for the knitting symbols on the graph? Is there any specific function of Stitch Fiddle that you're looking for? Yeah, if you can give me that information, I can really tailor it to you. But yes, I am going to be doing some of that here. Probably not this week, but definitely I will start off Monday. Every day is going to be a teaching day. I'm not going to have just one specific teaching day, because there have been issues with me health-wise keeping up with that type of schedule. So Monday through Friday, you can expect me on early in the morning like I normally am, or at this time of day. And I will try to put up a video with an event schedule and keep it as a permanently pinned thing there, so that you know what times I could possibly be on Monday through Friday. Weekends are bonus days, but I think I might claim my weekends. Because if I'm going live, I'm in the house, and I really like to be outside right now. And I don't have everything that I need to be able to do. Okay, yeah. I have a good bit of subscribers over there now. Okay, you got your spindle. How are you enjoying that, Arlene? Becky, I'm going to refer you to Moonchild. You follow Moonchild, don't you? She spins. She spins some beautiful, beautiful yarn. 50 by 53. What is that, Arlene? Morticia, if you go back to my profile page, click on this little button right here. Another button will pop up right down here that gives you basic information about me. If you click on that second icon, it will take you back to my profile page. Right above my videos, right about right here on your cell phone, there will be a Linktree link. And within there is all the access that I give everybody who follows me, watches me, doesn't follow me but comes and watches anyway, access to my other accounts for long-term storage of the Knit-a-long, the Crochet-along, tutorial videos, which I haven't quite gotten over there yet. I have to redo them because of the music that was in the background while I was doing the tutorials. It's okay for here, but it's not okay for the long-term storage account. I will get copyright violations, and I don't want that. So some of those I'm going to have to redo specifically for over there. I'm going to be working on that this weekend and in the evenings. This weekend the house will be empty, so won't have to worry about the dogs barking during the tutorials. So yes, all of that information is there. Thank you, Brooklyn. I appreciate it. I'm here to help anybody who needs help yarn related. But yeah, Becky, she'd be the best one to ask questions. She's done the EEW Nano, and she has worked with a spinning wheel. So she could tell you more information about that. I tried it. I didn't care for it. So, yeah. Oh, you measured your blanket. Yeah. I try to explain to everybody because I don't know. Hey, April. I don't know the extent of, how long people have been here and, how much they do know. I don't know all that much about TikTok. I'm still discovering a lot of stuff. Hopefully we get to keep it. I do enjoy being here. But it's not the only live streaming platform, to be honest. So I probably will be dividing my attentions a little bit until I find out what's going on in September. Whether this is going to stay or go. I do want to kind of keep things flowing without, a huge split and break. So I will be trying out some other platforms that I'm already currently on. And trying to learn again what I already learned here on TikTok. You know how it is. You learn a program, you don't want to go anywhere else. All right, Becky, have a good day. So, yeah. But yeah, if I have to learn a new one, I will. So I'll be doing some of that each day. Figuring out things, which one will be similar to this. And I can still do what I do. And we're going to continue on with this pocket here. If anybody has questions. And, April, I'm learning about a lot of things every day. I'm learning new things about myself. I'm learning new skills. I'm learning new shortcuts for my crafting. Things to make it look a little more polished. I really don't want my handwork to look professional because I don't want it to look like, it was machine done. But yeah, I like it to look nice. And if I can find an easier way, a more efficient way, or something that just, takes it a step up, I try to do that. This many stitches, I should just knit backwards, but I don't want to confuse everybody. And I've heard that knitting backwards is just like knitting left-handed, so life's classroom, there you go. But a lot of it's on purpose. I search out new skills, new techniques, new things. And some of it's not on purpose. Or rather involuntary, but I still learn. Arlene, I like to make my pockets pretty much as big as my hand, especially for adult. I don't like to cover more than a third, or not a third, but a little over 2/3. And basically when I do this, because I don't have a pattern, I pretty much, as I go, and thank you for asking, because that's another thing, I'll put my hand down here. How much of my hand is this going to cover? I want to cover at least to my wrist. You know, if you're going to put a cell phone in there, you want to have it big enough. So I'll put my hand down there. I pretty much know how far to go just by look. I'll go up to about right here, and then I'll start ribbing, which will take up about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Just so it stays, you know, even with all the other ribbing. The ribbing at the bottom was, let me see, probably only 1 inch. Let me measure. Almost 1.5 inches. I have to measure from the tape, not the edge of it, because it's off. But yeah, 1.5 inches rib on the pockets and 1.5 inches wide rib on the collar band, where the buttons and stuff go. So yeah, I try to keep all that standard the same, so that it's all uniform. Yeah, pretty deep pockets. I like pockets. I don't like these tiny little pockets that you can't put nothing but a tube of chapstick in. No, gotta have pockets. This sweater I am going to give to my sister yet again for her birthday. Her birthday's coming up in October. So I will have this done for her. Now you can see I'm going pretty quick, and like I said, it took me about 2 days to make the back and a day for each of the other pieces, the 2 fronts and the 2 sleeves. So that's 4 days to make all the major pieces of a sweater. 5 days, 5 pieces. And then, you know, putting the pockets in, and I am going to show you side seam pockets too, but we're going to hold that off until next week. We'll do the side seam pockets, and we will do the collar band next week. And that should be the finish. So, and I'm not rushing anybody when I tell you how long it takes me to do a piece. I just, with the mindless knitting like this, I can fly on a purl row and a knit row, and I can get 5 inches of a sweater done in an hour. And that was on the back piece. I was doing 5 inches, and that was over 100 stitches in an hour. And 5 inches is like 20, that's more than 20 rows. So my stitch gauge, ooh, I'm going to end up knocking that somewhere, is very, very close to this. 25 rows and 4 inches. So if we divide that by 4, it's about 6 rows, 6 1/4 rows in an inch. And if I times that by 5 inches, it's like 30 rows an hour that I was doing on the back. Now, mind you, if I had been doing cables, it would have been a lot slower, because I'd have to stop, pick up a cable needle, switch stitches around, put them back on the needle. Every little detail that you add, every technique that you add, color work, it adds extra time to your work. Rogue, thank you for the follow. Socks on straights, yep. I have a whole book, and if anybody's interested in knitting socks on straight needles, we'll work through one of those patterns. We sure will. I'll have to find a sock pattern online that is free and available for everyone. Rogue, we will be finishing up this crochet, or this knit along, next week. I've got the whole sweater done. I'm actually just putting a pocket on today. Next week we will come back and I will show you how to do a side seam pocket and the collar band. But I will be doing more knit-alongs. And yes, we will always have a knit-along going on over here. I will be taking a short break in between to allow rest for my hands, and for everyone to get materials together. I don't want it to be that, oh, you can't join because, you know, I don't want income to be an issue, and I do my very, very best to make sure that the patterns that I use are either mine or free, available to the public on Pinterest or Ravelry or wherever. I give suggestions on where to purchase yarn that is at a less expensive price. I try to keep my expenses to a minimum. That way I can teach everyone and they can do the same. So this was all done from measurements. There is absolutely no pattern. I was teaching everyone how you can do this sweater from measurements. All of the past sessions of this knit-along are uploaded to my YT account. And it is open and available to everyone. If you go back to touch on this little button, another little icon will pop up about mid-screen. Touch on that second little icon. It takes you back to my profile page. Right above my videos, there's a Linktree link that will allow you to access directly my YT account and some other accounts that I've left open. If you have problems with your knitted or crocheted work and you need to take a picture because you need help, you don't know what's going on, I've given you access to other platforms like that to where you can send me a picture and a message. You can also message me here on TikTok, but you can't send any pictures in the messages here. So that's why I've given you links to others. And it's all back in the Linktree link right above my videos. All the formulas are there from the start. How to take your measurements. How to figure out your stitch counts from your knit gauge. All of that. Now mind you, next week, before next week, I will be putting out another video announcing the next knit-along. We will have a tentative date of at least 30 days so that everyone has, the opportunity to get things together so they don't feel rushed. And I will put it out there, and in the comments we will figure out what we want to make next. I'm going to put one pocket on the outside, Arlene, and one pocket in the seam. And I will show you next week the inseam pocket along with the collar band. Today we are going to finish up. I'm going to show you how to sew down this pocket before I leave out of here today. I'm hoping to be off of here within the next 30 minutes. Because we've already been on an hour. I don't want to keep everybody too long, and the YT videos with instructions, a lot of people don't like to watch an hour's worth of video for information. So I will show you how to sew down one side of the pocket, and you just repeat it on the other side. We might not get to finish this pocket today, but I can show you how to start sewing it down. And go up one side. But yeah, I'm always going to have knit-along going along. We did just finish up a crochet along last week, or the week prior. Everything for me is last week. Short memory issues and all. So, and I think after this row, I'll keep going. Might be able to get it finished. Yeah, I don't have to turn the sweater around to measure the sleeve pocket. I'll show you how I did that in the beginning. Okay, we got our piece laying here like this. Doesn't cover my hand yet. We're almost to where we want to be before we start the ribbing here. So I'd like it to be here at the wrist. So maybe another inch, and then we'll do 1.5 inches of ribbing. So another 6 rows. And then I'll start the ribbing, and then we can stitch it down. But yeah, I think my sister's really gonna love this. She went crazy over the last sweater. It was the big comfy sweater pattern that I did, and it is back in my videos. It's got the texture at the top, and at the bottom it was plain in the pattern. I put color work in it. It was really pretty. Welcome in, Janice J. You can't find the video part 1. Okay, I'll have to check it out. I might not have... It might be in there, but it might not be. I have to check. But yes, I have some knitting books over here on the side of my table, a little bookshelf. And I have a bunch of them over on the other bookshelf. This one over here, I use them the most, and there's some of the newer ones that I want to make things out of. But I have the Knit Your Socks on Straights, and I think I bought that from the bookstore. The big chain bookstore. I actually bought a book because I wanted one pattern that was in the book, but then when I got home and got to looking at the rest of the patterns, the book is full of good stuff. And I'll probably make all of that stuff too. Really wanted to work through the book like Moonchild did with that one. I've had that book for a while, years now. I haven't knitted anything out of it. I need to. My music stopped. Probably asking me, are you still listening? But it's okay. We can sit in quiet for a minute and listen to the whoosh of these Chiagu needles. Anybody else knit with Chiagu needles? I absolutely love these things. I'll get a drink here. Yeah, I think you had told about that. You had told me about that. Log cabin blanket. I like those. You get a lot of practice picking up stitches too with that. That's a good practice for picking up stitches. It really is. If I'm thinking of the same blanket, I think I'm getting a puzzle piece. Yeah, I thought I was losing battery, but thank goodness it's puzzle piece. Come on. Oh, please. I let go of it too soon. There we go, gave one. I hate these little puzzle things. Yes, I'm still here. Yeah, Arlene, if I'm thinking of the same log cabin blanket, I think you do a lot of picking up of stitches. So, I think two more rows, and we'll start the rib. Now, the thing about ribbing, I'll share with you guys, if you're going to do ribbing and you're going to do stripes, like change colors and have stripes within your knit 2, purl 2 rib, or any type of knit purl rib, any stitch count for that, your first row on your color change, always do it on a knit row and knit all the way through. Then when you go back to do the second row with that same color stripe, you're going to repeat your knit purl rib. That takes the purl dashes out of your ribbing. KT Crafts, we're working on a knit-along. This is actually a pocket that I have picked up, and I'm knitting on the front of a sweater. And I do think it's about long enough now. I should be able to, yeah, start my ribbing here because I think I went a couple rows too many. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, it's as long as my hand. I'll go ahead here and start my knit 1, purl 1 rib, but we'll start with the purl so it's knit on the other side. And probably only going to do that for about 4 or 5 rows and then do my off. That'll equal the inch. We'll shrink this down to an inch since we went a little longer on the pocket itself. I should have started the ribbing a couple rows back. This is actually the yarn. This is Red Heart, Roll With It. Here. And it's actually a bunch of different colors, and it's got some tweed-like striping you can see here in it. Not so much in this piece, but when we get to the other pieces with the darker and the lighter together, you can see the tweed look. Like they applied 2 different colors together. Yeah, it is really, really pretty, and it is super, super soft. Alright, now I gotta knit the knits and purl the purls on this. So I really need to be able to... I started out knitting and purling that row, and I knitted the rest of the way. Right here, I need to take these out and get that rib pattern back in there. Okay. See, it doesn't matter how long you've done this craft, 40 plus years over here, you still make mistakes and you just roll with it. Alright, second row of rib here. This is going to be the top of our pocket. Putting this ribbing or a I-cord edge or moss stitch, garter stitch, whatever border stitch you want to put up here will stop this from rolling. Knit will roll in stockinette stitch if it doesn't have a border edge on it or if it's not going to get sewed down. So you need to make sure, like your blankets, scarves, if you're doing any type of stockinette stitch with that, you have to have a border edge on the bottom and up the sides. And I will show you why here in just a second, as soon as I finish this row. And I can show you on the pocket. I don't even have to turn the sweater over. You see how these edges are doing? They're rolling up. Stockinette stitch will continue to roll up like that unless you sew these down or you put some type of border edge on them. This won't roll because it's got a border edge. These edges roll if they don't have that. So you got to make sure that you put that on. Unless you want the rolled effect, which was in the Rory sweater that I recreated. couple more rows here. And I will cast this off in Knit and Purl. I know some of you were not here at the beginning to see the cast off of the second sleeve, just to give you a refresher. You'll get to see this get cast off in the Knit and Purl stitch. One more row and then I'll cast it off. You can see I got a nice little rib on here, and this is enough to prevent it from rolling. Tomorrow I'm going to show you some comparisons between Knit and Purl so that you can see they are very closely related. Very, very closely related. Basically, it's just loops being pulled through loops. Both of them. But what I'm going to show you will probably just have you so flabbergasted you're like, why didn't I see that before? Especially crocheters who think they can't knit, or knitters who think they can't crochet. They're basically the same. Alright, now I'm going to do my cast off row here. And again, knowing which are knit stitches and which are purl stitches, your knit stitches drop down into a V below the stitch on the needle. Your purl stitches have a dash. I've heard them called speed bumps. I call them dashes. So the Sarah sweater. Oh, okay. You're claiming the sweater. Okay, so we're going to start off with purl stitch, and we have to do 2 stitches before we can pass over. Taking my yarn to the back for my knit stitch, we're going to pass that first stitch over. Bring my yarn back for the purl stitch. Again, loosely on the bind off or cast off, whichever you want to call it, so that you don't gather up the top of your material. It will bring it in together and shrink up the space. So super, super loose. Well, not super, super, but you want it to be just the size of the needle, not much bigger. So really mindful when you're casting off so that you don't shorten up the 22 stitches down to 15 stitches, because then it won't sew down right. You go to stretch it out and sew it down, and it'll pucker your sweater. Yeah. Pass that one over first. And to the next stitch. Missing messages here. Hey, Rochelle, how are you doing, honey? I missed you this morning. I did some housework, though, so win-win. And you had the evening with Marie. I'm glad she enjoyed that coloring book. That picture brought smiles to my face. Katie Katz, thank you for the like. So we're coming up on the end of this pocket. We picked the stitches up and worked it right straight onto the front of the sweater. Makes your pocket extra durable at the bottom because it's actually stitched right to the material instead of sewn on. You don't have any sewing to come undone. Pull that loop a little long. I'm going to get my crochet hook. I'm getting ready to skip a step and just cut it off. We don't want to do that. Do a chain 2. Now I can cut it. Do just like that. Come right above the knot, or the chain two, and pulls it right down even with the material. Alright, so there's our pocket picked up off of there and right onto the sweater. Now I'm going to show you how to sew the pocket down. I won't sew the whole pocket down, but I'll show you the start of sewing this pocket down. And we will be just about done for today. Alright, onto my sewing needle. I'm going to come up through the back side. Now I'm going to have to bring this camera down a little bit. So deal with me here so you can really see the detail of these stitches, okay? We're going to look right here at this row where we picked up our first stitch. That's the same row that we want to sew this down to. So that is this row. Get this up here like this. That is this row right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is come in from the back side, right up in the middle of that V, almost like doing a duplicate stitch. See right there? I came right up through the middle, well, not quite the middle. I think I got more stitching stuck in there. Let's come up through that one. There we go. Right up through the middle. We are going to find the very edge row right here. Okay. We're going to come right up through the middle of that V. See that V right there on the edge? We're right through the middle. I'm going to come right up through there. Be careful not to pull it all the way through. Where's your string on the back? Almost did. Alright, now we are going to go, here's our next V. We're going to go through the middle of that one. So go through the middle of that one. We are going to come back here and go down through the middle of the next stitch. Okay, see the next V here we're going down through. Now here's where I take a moment and I'm going to go ahead and put my knot in here because I do not want this to go anywhere. And this extra string that is hanging here, I will weave this way and then back this way. That friction, probably under the pocket would be better. That friction of weaving it this way and that way, no matter if I pull it this way or if I pull it this way, this does not come back out. I have done it on a knit swatch and I tortured the heck out of it. Little kids wearing sweaters, putting their feet in them and stretching them. Poking their fingers through it and all that kind of stuff. It does not come out. Tested and tried. Hey, Daphne. Yes, Brooklyn, I am. I am in the southeastern part of Pennsylvania. All right, now we are on the back end, so we need to find our row here. I need to get that out of the way. And we need to be careful here. Right up through here and right up through the center of our knot. Now that we're secure, we're going to make sure not to pull it tight. Now we've just come up through this stitch, so we need to go back down through this one and the corresponding stitch in the row beneath. We're going to make sure we go through the right spot. You can see here where we went through with our string earlier, right here. See our string right there? We're going to go right up to the next one. And I'm actually stitching it to the bars in between the stitches. You see those bars right there? That's normally what you pick up to make a stitch. So I'm going down in between those. And when I come back up, I'm going to come back up through that next hole. So I'm going to leave this kind of open here like this so you can see. And I'll make sure that I'm coming up through the hole and not the other fabric. Right through that hole. And then you can see where we came through here. So now we have to come up through the next vertical knit stitch there on top of that. And I just do that all the way up that side of the pocket. I'm going to continue so I can show you a little bit better. And normally I can see a little bit better because what I do is just like this. I go down in through the underside and then I come back up through here. Then I go down through the next stitch and in through here just like that. Up and through the next stitch. Then I'm going to go back down through the stitch on top of that one. And I should have hit this one. One stitch too high. And what that does, you can see right there, here we are, stitching it straight down. You see my stitches. This one vertical row attaches with that vertical row, and it looks like it's supposed to be right in line. Right there. You can see I can't poke my finger through there. Here is the sweater, and here is the pocket. Right beside each other. Right there is the division. It just seems like the things I share are what people are working on, so it just kind of works out sometimes. So yeah, there you are. Crochet stitches work the same as well. You know, you're just working through the stitches. Go down, come up, go down, come up. Stitches it right straight to. And I'm just going to continue on with this. And I will have this pocket stitched on this one side. For those who didn't make it today, next Thursday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be back, at which time I will show again how to do the other pocket for those who didn't make it today. I will be showing and how to pick up the collar band and do the buttonholes. So next week, and the seam pockets. Yes, because on the other side, we will have to seam up. I'll have the sleeves and everything all seamed up, and the side that I'm going to put the pocket in, I won't have it seamed up. So that way I can plan for my pocket. I will take some photographs and some video to show you how to plan for your pocket on your sweater. You basically try it on and put your hand in a position that's comfortable to go into a pocket. That's where you put the pocket on. So if you're making this for a toddler, you want to put it on them and kind of hold their hand where they would, you know, stick it into a side pocket so it's not too high, it's not too low. Yes. So everything is try on and experiment. So, as long as no one has any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and end for the day. I will be back tomorrow. So tomorrow will be definitely just working on whatever I'm working on, and a teaching question day and showing whatever anybody needs to see or needs help with. So, hey doodles. Check with me again. Marcia, no problem. I'm here to help you get finished, and anyone else who has started this. I will put out a video stating when this is done that I'm still here until every last one gets finished. Even if you decide to go and to the YT account and try to follow along, if you have any questions, right back here, send me a message. If I'm live, just post it in the live. Oh, Rochelle, it just really makes me happy to share the knowledge that I have about yarn. And mainly the reason why I share, and I'll share a little bit about my life with you guys. I share this because this actually got me out of a domestic abuse situation. Staying home and having yarn, he didn't care. She's in the house, she's not going anywhere. I was making money. I was making money to get myself and my children out of a bad situation. So if I share this, and I know this is cliche, if I help one person, it's that serious. So it's all in fun that I share, but seriously, this has helped a lot of people. They are now discovering that this helps with PTSD, and a lot of combat veterans are learning to knit because when your mind is busy, you don't live in it. You don't ponder in it. And I know you guys have probably heard me say this before. Your mind is meant to control your body, not you. So if you're busy, you're working with your hands, your mind is busy, you're not living in your mind, which is where you're not supposed to stay anyway. So it just makes me happy to share this. It gives me purpose. It gives me something to do. It keeps me out of my mind. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win. And I'm here to teach everybody who wants to learn. If you just want to watch, if you just like to watch people craft, that's fine. Coming in, you want to learn, I'm here to teach. If you know people who want to learn, send them one of my videos. So thank you very much for joining. It's a great day. And as usual, may all your stitch counts match. And happy craft.